War at sea is changing faster than ever before. For centuries, navies fought ship to ship, trading cannon fire or torpedoes on the open water. Huge battleships once ruled the waves, and then submarines brought new dangers from below. But today, something different is happening. The tools of war are crossing boundaries, and nowhere is this more dramatic than in the use of land-based missiles against ships and submarines. Imagine a submarine sitting quietly in its home port, thinking it is safe. Then, without warning, a missile launched from far inland streaks through the sky. It finds its target with deadly accuracy. The rules of naval warfare are being rewritten, and everyone is paying attention. This new reality is not just about technology. It is about how nations defend themselves and how military leaders think about threats. What happens when the land can strike the sea without ever leaving the shore? This is the story of how one US missile changed the game, and what it means for the future. Land-based missiles are not new, but their use against naval targets is rare. One missile at the heart of this change is the ATAC-MS, short for Army Tactical Missile System. The ATAC-MS is a powerful weapon, launched from a truck or mobile launcher far from the action. It flies fast, covering more than 300 kilometers in just minutes. ATACMS missiles use a combination of GPS and guidance systems to home in on their targets. Once fired, these missiles soar high into the sky and then plunge down onto the target with great force. The warhead can be packed with explosives, able to pierce even tough armor or ship hulls. Normally, ATACMS missiles are used to strike targets on land. They can knock out enemy headquarters, airfields, or radar sites. But in a surprise twist, the US military decided to use this land-based missile to strike a submarine in port, a move that caught many by surprise. The ATAC-MS brings something new to the battlefield: precision and reach. It lets armies hit targets they could never reach before, even those believed to be protected by the sea. That is why this missile is making headlines around the world. The Persian Gulf is one of the busiest and most tense waterways in the world. Oil tankers sail through daily, and navies from many countries patrol the waters. Iran, the United States, and others have long watched each other carefully here. Any small incident can quickly turn into a crisis. In this region, military forces must always be alert. Submarines slip beneath the waves, gathering intelligence or preparing for action. Warships keep their radars scanning, always on the lookout. On land, missile batteries and air defenses stand ready in case of attack. But with so much at stake, new tactics keep emerging. Iran has invested heavily in submarines to challenge US naval power. The US, in turn, uses advanced missiles and sensors to watch Iranian movements, both at sea and on shore. It is a dangerous balance, and both sides know that even a single missile could change everything. This tense setting is where the story of the missile strike begins. Both sides are on constant alert. The use of a land-based missile against a naval target in port shifts this delicate balance, showing how quickly the rules can change. Submarines are built to be stealthy. They hide deep underwater, making them hard to find and harder to attack. When they return to port, they are usually considered safe. Docks offer security, and land-based defenses protect them from air or sea attack. But ports are also places of vulnerability. Submarines must surface and power down while they are resupplied or repaired. Crews may be off the boat, and defenses may be less strict than at sea. Everyone assumes that submarines are safe in their home waters. Yet, as the US missile strike proved, this safety can be an illusion. Modern missiles like the ATAC-MS can hit targets almost anywhere. They do not care if a submarine is in port or at sea. If the location is known and defenses are weak, a missile can strike in minutes. This changes how navies must think about protecting their most valuable ships. Ports are no longer safe havens. Submarines, even those in their own backyard, are now targets in a new kind of warfare. Missile strike, entree. A new kind of attack. It started with intelligence. U.S. satellites and spies tracked an Iranian submarine returning to port. The sub was believed to be preparing for a new patrol, but American commanders saw a chance to strike before it could become a threat. The decision was made. Use an ATACMS missile, fired from land, to target the submarine while it was docked. This was a bold move. Never before had a land-based missile been used this way against a naval target in port. The operation was planned in secret, with careful attention to timing and accuracy. When the moment came, a mobile launcher rolled into position, far from the coast. The missile was fired, soaring high and fast across the Gulf. Guided by precise coordinates, it struck the submarine where it sat, causing massive damage and catching the Iranian crew off guard. The attack sent shockwaves through military circles. It showed that nowhere is truly safe if the enemy can see you and reach you. The use of land-based missiles against ships and submarines in port had become a reality. How did a missile find a hidden submarine in a busy port? Well, the answer lies in modern technology and careful planning. First, American intelligence agencies tracked the submarine's movements using satellites and drones. They watched as the sub returned to port and docked. Next, analysts used images and electronic signals to pinpoint the exact spot where the submarine was moored. The coordinates were fed into the ATACMS targeting system. Even though the port was crowded, the missile could strike with pinpoint accuracy. The missile itself relies on GPS and inertial guidance. That means it can adjust its flight while in the air, correcting for wind or movement. As it neared the target, sensors helped ensure it hit the right spot. The result was a direct strike, quick, precise, and deadly. This operation showed how intelligence, surveillance, and advanced weaponry now work together. Attacks can be planned in hours, not days. And even targets once thought safe, like submarines in port, can be reached by land-based missiles. The missile strike taught everyone a hard lesson. Submarines and other naval vessels are not as safe as they once seemed. Ports, once strongholds, are now vulnerable to long-range precision strikes from land. Defenses around naval bases must change fast. Navies will need to rethink their strategies. Hiding submarines or moving them between ports may not be enough. New defenses are needed. Better camouflage, stronger anti-missile systems, and more rapid response teams. The old rules do not apply anymore. This also affects how navies plan their missions. Submarines may spend less time in port, or use decoys to confuse attackers. Crews must always be ready for a missile strike, even when at home. The line between land and sea is fading, and every part of a navy must adapt. The lesson is clear. Innovation in weapons brings new risks. Every advance in technology forces a change in tactics. Navies that do not adapt could find themselves at risk, both at sea and in their own ports. The U.S. strike with the ATACMS missile has started a new chapter in naval warfare. Other countries are watching and learning. Soon, more armies may use land-based missiles against ships and submarines. New tactics will appear, and old defenses may not be enough. Innovation does not stop. As missiles become smarter and harder to stop, navies must develop new ways to hide and protect their ships. Ports may be redesigned with more shelters, or ships may stay at sea for longer periods. The race between offense and defense continues. There will also be new debates about the rules of war. If any target can be struck from land, what is still safe? How can countries protect their vital ships and bases? These questions will shape the future of both technology and strategy. One thing is certain, the battlefield is changing. Land and sea are no longer separate. In this new world, innovation is the key to survival and success. The U.S. use of a land-based ATACMS missile against an Iranian submarine in port marks a turning point. It shows that old ideas about naval safety are out of date. Now, a missile can strike from far away, hitting targets once thought secure. Navies must adapt fast. They need better defenses, smarter tactics, and new ways to keep their ships safe. Military leaders everywhere are watching closely, learning from this bold attack. As technology continues to advance, the line between land and sea will blur even more. The future of warfare belongs to those who innovate, and those who prepare for the unexpected. In the end, the biggest lesson is simple. In war, safety is never guaranteed.